Welcome to our channel. If you enjoy dramatic real-life stories, you're the right place. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next powerful episode. Now, let's begin. Yakov came back late. The apartment smelled of cleaning solution and something sharp, spicy. The key turned smoothly, without sticking, just like always. He put his bag by the door, shrugged off his jacket, hung it on a hook, and walked to the sink. The water in the kettle was warm, which meant someone had used it recently. The kitchen light was on. The table was set, stewed cabbage, a couple of cooling cutlets, 2 sets of cutlery. One of them pushed aside like someone had already eaten. His son sat in the corner, hunched over a laptop, headphones in his ears. Irina wasn't coming out of the bedroom. Yakov silently poured himself some water, took a sip, put the glass back. "Hi," he said without looking at his son. Vlad nodded, not taking off his headphones. Something about that nod was unnatural, a little too sharp, almost automatic, as if he had expected the question in advance and prepared the reaction ahead of time. Yakov noted it, said nothing. He went to the bathroom. The light was off, but the mirror was fogged up. There was a fresh lipstick mark on the towel. Not smudged, but clearly imprinted. Not hers. Irina wore a different shade. This one was cherry red, bright, like from a display window. Yakov still said nothing. He returned to the kitchen, reheated the food, ate slowly at the table, looking out the window. His son, sensing his father's presence, pulled out one earbud. "We've got a geometry test tomorrow." "Ready?" "Yeah, almost." The pause stretched. Yakov finished the cutlet, wiped his mouth with a napkin, stood up. "Where's your mother?" "Some meeting she called. Said she'd be late. It's the end of the month. They're behind on the plan." The sentence sounded like Vlad had rehearsed it, a memorized line from someone else's script. "I see," Yakov said. He went to the bedroom, got undressed, turned on the desk lamp. There was a restaurant receipt lying on the nightstand. The amount was more than what he usually left for a whole week. He picked up the receipt, put it in the drawer, turned off the light. He lay there, not sleeping for an hour or two. Then he got up, got dressed, stepped out onto the balcony. He had quit smoking 10 years ago, but his hand instinctively checked his pocket, as if a cigarette might have appeared there by itself. It was cold outside, the air dry and sharp. He stood there, staring down at the parked cars. A foreign sedan stood by the entrance. Not from her building, not from any of the neighbors' shiny finish. No license plate frame. Tinted windows, he remembered it. When Irina came home, it was nearly 3. Her heels clicked down the hallway. He didn't get up. Pretended to be asleep. She came in quietly. Too quietly. Like someone who knows they shouldn't make noise. She opened the closet, took off her jewelry, placed it in the box. The perfume was new, sweet. Not something she used to wear. Yakov lay there, listening to her breathing beside him, too fast for someone tired, too uneven. He didn't ask. At 6 in the morning, he got up, made coffee, sat down at the laptop. Irina came into the kitchen. Her hair was still damp from the shower. White blouse, black skirt, a watch with a gold-tone bracelet. She looked composed, as always. "What's on your schedule today?" she asked, pouring herself coffee. "Site visit. The slabs were delivered. We'll be lifting the structure." He didn't look at her for long. "Till evening." She nodded, took a sip, sat down across from him. "You didn't sleep well," he shrugged. "Air feels heavy. Maybe it's time to change the filter." "Maybe." He watched her drink coffee. Her hands didn't shake. Her gaze was steady, not a single misstep in her movements. As if everything was normal, as if nothing had happened. Irina stood up, smoothed her skirt. "Vlad has practice after class. Then he's going to Artyom's to work on the project. You okay with that?" "Let him go. Then I'm off. I won't be home before evening. You know how it is with the plan." "I know." She picked up her bag and left. Yakov listened to the door slam, the car start, and drive away. 15 minutes later, he walked into his son's room. Vlad sat there, pretending to read. "Didn't forget your phone?" "Huh? No, wait." He reached under the pillow and pulled out his smartphone. "Let me see. What? Your phone? Let me see it. What? I just want to." Vlad froze for a second, then handed it over. Yakov took it, unlocked it. No password. Either Vlad forgot, or he wanted his father to see. Yakov scrolled through the messages. The conversation was long, detailed. He read silently. Something inside him tightened. Something alien, but his face stayed still. When he finished reading, He handed the phone back, sat down beside him. "You wrote all of this?" Vlad said nothing. "Answer me." "You didn't think?" "I didn't think. Got it." He got up, walked to the door, paused. "No practice today. Come straight home after school." "Okay, got it." He left without looking back inside. Everything was clear, no emotions, no questions. Everything had fallen into place. The next morning began with mechanical precision. Yakov, as always, arrived at the construction site by 8. He checked the delivery of the slabs, walked the perimeter, double-checked the measurements, assigned tasks. The guys worked smoothly, no unnecessary chatter. He didn't interfere. His mind was elsewhere. By noon, he went back to the trailer, closed the door behind him, took out his laptop, opened the browser, logged into his online banking. The car balance was lower than usual. Less than what was left even by mid-month. He scrolled through the list of transactions. On the screen, a neat chain of restaurant visits, beauty salons, boutique purchases, all carefully labeled. Business lunch, corporate gift, work meeting. But Yakov knew how corporate expenses were processed and who paid for them. After lunch, he drove to the city center. To Petra, he sat in his cramped office, hunched over a pair of monitors. Petra was hunched over 2 monitors in his cramped office, chewing on a pencil, eyes darting between screens. When he noticed Yakov, he gave a tired nod. "Got something for me?" Yakov asked. Petra leaned back, cracked his neck. "A little depend what you're after. I need phone logs, 2 numbers, incoming, outgoing, maybe location history." Petra didn't ask, whose he never did. "You want silent or official?" "Silent." Petra tapped on the keyboard. "Give me the numbers, I'll run them through the archive if there's geodata. Might take longer." Yakov handed him a folded paper. Petra glanced at it, raised an eyebrow. "Both of them?" Yakov just nodded. "All right, I'll call you. When it's ready, you'll owe me lunch. Not one of those construction site canteens. Real food this time." Yakov managed a thin smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. On the way back, he stopped by the hardware store, bought a new air filter back home. He replaced it in silence, screwed the cover back on, washed his hands. The apartment was empty, quiet, clean. Vlad came home after 4. He walked in, nodded, went straight to his room. Yakov didn't say anything. He waited at 6. Irina called. "Still at the office? Don't wait up. It's chaos here." He didn't ask questions, didn't say a word. Just stood there for a few seconds, phone still in his hand, then put it down. He warmed up dinner, ate alone. Didn't turn on the TV, didn't open his laptop, just sat, staring at the empty chair across from him. The next morning, the message came at 9:17. "Gotta come when free, not for phone." Yakov was already on site. He finished checking the crane setup, handed off the inspection log, then got in his car and drove back to the center. Petra was alone. He locked the office door behind Yakov. "Didn't want to send this over text," he said, tapping his monitor. "Too much and too clear." On the screen were 2 timelines, calls, messages, location pings. The first number, Irina's the second. One he didn't recognize, but by the 3rd line of messages, he didn't need names. Restaurants, hotels, patterns, same car, same days, same excuses. Every time she said she'd be late. There was a match every meeting, every plan. The logs traced them like thread through fabric. No business, no clients, no colleagues. Petra didn't comment. He just sat back and waited. Yakov looked at the screen in silence, then asked, "How long?" Petra glanced at the logs. "For maybe 5 months. First ping is late March, gets regular by May." Yakov nodded, didn't curse, didn't react. His voice was flat. "You could delete everything." "You sure?" "Yes." Petra pressed a few keys, closed the file. "Want coffee?" "No." Yakov left without saying goodbye. He came home before sunset. The apartment was still muted light, slanted through the curtains. The air smelled like detergent, something recently washed, as if someone was trying to erase traces. Vlad was in his room, headphones on, pretending not to notice. Yakov changed clothes, washed his hands, stood by the sink for a long time, staring at his reflection in the dark window. His own face looked unfamiliar. Not angry, not sad, just distant, as if it belonged to someone else. He called out, "Vlad, come here." A pause, shuffling feet. The boy appeared in the doorway. Yakov sat down at the table, gestured for him to sit. Vlad did. They sat in silence for a moment. "Listen," Yakov said. His voice was calm, too calm. About what you wrote about the messages, was that just talk? Or is it real? Vlad didn't answer right away then, barely audible. It's real. Yakov nodded. Okay. He didn't shout, didn't raise his hand, didn't ask why. Just, you're not in trouble. I just need to know what's going on in this house with everyone. Vlad looked at the table, then at his father. I didn't want to lie. I just didn't know how to tell you about her, about him. Yakov's jaw tightened, but his tone stayed steady. I already know, don't worry about her. Another pause. You hungry? He asked. Vlad hesitated a bit. Yakov stood up, opened the fridge, took out leftovers, set them on the counter. As he reheated the food, he said, not turning around, we'll talk more, but not today. Eat, then homework. Vlad nodded. He wore the same old sweater, pilled and stretched glasses slid down his nose. A thermos of coffee sat beside the keyboard. Listen, Yakov said, placing the printout in front of him. Can you cross-check these by date? I need to know when it all started. Quietly. Petr took the pages without a word, put on his glasses, scanned a few lines, raised his eyebrows. Someone spent a lot from our own accounts. September alone has more cheese than salary. I get it, Yakov said. You'll check everything, full breakdown, and if possible, he added, with timestamps. I want to know who made what transaction and when. Petr nodded. Give me a day or two. I'll pull from the archive. Locations, cards, phones, everything. Could just keep it quiet. Understood. At the door, Yakov paused, turned back. And if you see any requests on the business account from Irina, call me right away. Doesn't matter what the reason is. Petr only nodded. He was 7 years older than Yakov, had worked with him from the very beginning. He knew when not to ask questions. That evening, Yakov came home earlier than usual. The kitchen was silent. Vlad was in his room. Irina stood on the balcony, phone to her ear. He could hear her voice. Muted, unfamiliar, the tone was almost intimate, just above a whisper, with fake laughter trailing her words. Yes, I heard. A pause. He doesn't say anything, as always, just walks around with his hammer like the whole world owes him something. Yakov didn't walk in. Instead, he stepped back into the hallway, made it sound like he had just arrived. I'm home, he said loudly. The call ended instantly. A click as the phone locked. A few seconds later, the door opened. You're early, Irina said, voice a little tight. Finished work ahead of schedule. Well, I'll heat up dinner. No need, I'll manage. He walked past her, opened the fridge, took out the leftover buckwheat and stewed chicken, reheated it, sat down at the table. Irina hovered behind him, clearly unsure what to do. Vlad said the test didn't go well today. She offered, I'll talk to him. She paused, then stepped closer. You're upset about something? No, just thinking. About what? He put down his fork, turned to her, looked at her for a long time, expressionless. And you? He asked. Are you upset about something? Why would you say that? Her voice stiffened. Just asking, he said. Irina turned and walked out of the kitchen. The bedroom door closed, quietly, but with finality. Yakov finished his tea, washed the dishes, then went to the bedroom. She was lying in bed with her phone, screen off, waiting for him to say something. He said nothing. That night, he woke up, sat in the chair by the window. His head was heavy, dense like concrete. He ran through all the dates he'd noted, matched them with her words, with work hours, family dinners. It all lined up. 3 months of a double life, calculated, precise, almost flawless. Her purse was on the table. He got up, opened it, took out the wallet inside. Receipts, one fresh, from a flower shop, timestamp. 15 minutes before she came home Monday. He hadn't received any flowers, so they were for someone else. He took a photo, put everything back exactly as it was, didn't leave a trace. In the morning, after Vlad left for school, Irina stayed in the bathroom longer than usual. Yakov opened his laptop again, checked the date of the last transfer to her card, checked the time. It all matched. His suspicions were no longer suspicions. They had become a pattern, a repeatable system. He opened a blank document title, May, September, expenses/coincidence. Beneath that, a table, dates, times, purchase categories beside them. Clear conclusions, no emotion, only data. Once he finished the last note, he got dressed, grabbed his work bag. In the hallway, he ran into Irina. She was putting on her coat, a meter and a half. Between them, the air dense, like before a storm. I'll call from work. She threw over her shoulder, didn't wait for a reply, she left. He stood still. Silence in the corridor, the house empty. Perfectly styled to look like a marriage. Silence in the hallway. An emptiness in the house. Furnished and decorated. To resemble a marriage. On Saturday, Vlad forgot his phone at home again. He had left in the morning. Supposedly for a physics competition, Yakov found the device on the kitchen windowsill, next to a mug of tea, long since cold. He didn't pick it up right away, first looked at the door. Then at the clock, less than 30 minutes had passed since his son had left. He turned on the screen, it was locked, but Yakov had once seen Vlad type the code. Quick, automatic, for digits, for zeros. He entered it, the phone unlocked. The messages were recent A conversation with a contact named simply Matvey from the tone. Clearly a close friend. Maybe a classmate. Yakov started reading from the bottom, then scrolled upward. He thinks I'm at the pool. We already left. Oleg's driving same as always. The BMW. Of course, he says a kid needs the best, not like my old man. Always with dirty hands and his stinking putty. Yakov read slowly, line by line. Mom's at the salon every day. Now work meetings. Sure, meanwhile, I hang out with Oleg. He even lets me smoke. Your dad know about this? You kidding? He's like a mole, always at the construction site. Covered in dust. Mom says he wouldn't notice even if she was in bed with Oleg playing a balalaika. Yakov put the phone down, sat at the table, clasped his hands, elbows on the surface. He was silent for a long time. His thoughts didn't race. They aligned, cold, linear. His son wasn't just aware he was involved, complicit, helping. He picked up the phone again and continued reading. Oleg says he'll help with admissions. He knows people. And my dad? Just bricks, earn it yourself. Yeah, right. Only an idiot breaks his back for pennies when you've got connections. There are photos too. Vlad, smiling in the passenger seat of a car next to him, an older man in an unbuttoned dress shirt, a gold watch on his wrist, hand on the steering wheel. Caption, learning to drive. Another photo. A concert ticket being handed to Vlad. Yakov silently saved the images to the cloud, forwarded them to his email, then returned the phone to the windowsill, everything exactly as it had been. It had to look untouched. Petr called in the afternoon. Yakov, I've extracted at all transactions starting from May, structure, date, amount, payment, location, time. Then he paused. And something else. Go on. There's a pattern every time there was a restaurant charge on her card. You had either just withdrawn payroll for the crew or paid for materials. She used those windows. I marked them in red. You saved it on a flash drive and backed up. Come pick it up. I'll be there in an hour. The flash drive was small, black, with a label. Petr handed it over silently next to it. A printed folder, neatly stapled with color-coded tabs. A lawyer will love this, he said. It's everything you need for any expert review. At home, Yakov waited until Vlad went to shower. Then he sat at his son's laptop. The password was different, but he'd noticed Vlad used the same code for everything. The Wi-Fi password worked. The computer unlocked. The first thing he saw in the browser history, websites for elite driving schools, then search queries, admission by referral, private universities, in-person interview with admissions office. All of it aligned with the message dates. Oleg, it seemed, was not only Irina's lover. He had become something like an alternative father figure to Vlad. Yakov took note of that plainly without bitterness. He found a photo folder, dozens of pictures, trips, cafes, gift bags, tickets. In one, a box with a label, for my future student. No Yakov, no sign of home, no unfamiliar detail, either just absence. He closed the laptop, put it back in its place, returned to his room. That evening, over dinner, Vlad said, Mom, do you mind if I go to Oleg's on Sunday? He promised to help with my economics project. Yakov looked at him. Economics project? Yeah, he's good at that stuff. Irina paused. Only if it's not too late, and I want to know where exactly you'll be. Of course he'll drive me himself. Yakov picked up his fork, stabbed a cutlet. So what is he to you? A teacher? A tutor? He's just helping. I don't see the problem. The problem is you're not my son anymore. You someone's student. Vlad went silent, his fork frozen in midair. Dad, don't start. Yakov stood, took his plate to the sink. The faucet turned on with a sharp burst of sound. Behind him, silence. As Irina cleared the table, Yakov stepped up close behind her quietly, but clearly he said, "If tomorrow you have another meeting with clients, take a taxi, don't count on my account." She didn't reply, only gripped the towel in her hand a little tighter. Sunday morning began in silence. No one rushed. Vlad came into the kitchen closer to 10, in sweatpants and a t-shirt, phone in hand. Yakov was already at the table, reading the printouts from Petra's spreadsheets. The pages were neatly stacked. Unmarked, the paper crackled softly each time he turned a sheet. "Morning," Vlad muttered, opening the fridge. "Tea's on the stove," Yakov said, eyes still on the page. He could feel his son watching him, but didn't look up. Vlad poured himself tea, sat down nearby. "I'm going at 2 Hill Swing by to pick me up, weary, heading downtown after. He's got a meeting, but he said he'd drive me back." Yakov nodded, turned a page. "What are you reading?" "Contract. More construction?" "Always construction." The silence settled again. Vlad took a few sips, stood, headed to the bathroom. At 14:07, a car pulled up to the building, dark gray sedan, newer model. Oleg didn't get out. He sat behind the wheel, checking something on his phone. Vlad ran down, sports jacket on, slung his backpack in the back seat, and got in. Yakov was watching from the balcony, not smoking, just watching. The door camera logged the time, 14:07. The car pulled away, silently, no horn, no gesture. Yakov went down, got in his own car, started the engine, turned on navigation. He wasn't planning to follow, just drove the other direction, toward the warehouse. There was concrete to check, but his thoughts kept circling back. He imagined the car ride his son, relaxed, laughing, the man beside him, confident, calm, feeding him ideas that weren't his. And all of it against the backdrop of a home that once tried to be a family. Vlad came back around 9. Loudly, the front door slammed. He threw his sneakers toward the wall, his jacket onto a hook. He went into the kitchen, sat down without a word. Irina came and smiled at him. "How was it?" Finally went to a restaurant, then to a meeting. There were real business guys there. Tough ones, never seen people like that. One of them talked about how he made it from scratch, but not like Dad with them. "It's all about connections, right people, and Oleg knows a lot of them. He said he could introduce me if I wanted." Yakov stepped into the doorway, stood silently. He wasn't looking at Vlad, he was looking at her. She nodded, approvingly, as if listening to a lecture. "And you want that?" "I think so." "Yeah, he knows what he's talking about," said. "The main thing is not to break your back, but use your head, learn from people who know, instead of doing everything yourself, brick by brick." Yakov said nothing. "Dad, you always said people have to learn to change." "I said not to swap things out and call it change. That's not the same." Vlad shrugged, walked out. His steps showed no guilt, not even doubt. In the morning, he left earlier than usual. On the table, he left 2 things, a receipt and a single-page printout. No headings, just dates and amounts. At the bottom, 1 underlined line. 11 restaurants, 5 rides, all during my work shifts. The day began gray and damp at the site. A delivery of steel structures had fallen through. The crew sat idle. Yakov stayed in the site trailer, closed the door, laid out the paperwork. He worked in silence, headphones on, not for music, just to avoid interruption. Before him, 3 folders, bank statements, message logs, photos. He sorted them carefully, chronologically, May to September. The pattern was clear. First, a burst of small expenses, then larger ones, then his son's involvement. All documented, no emotion, just structure. He picked up his phone, scrolled through contacts, found a number saved since last fall. Shmelyova, lawyer. He tapped call. "Yes." A calm, confident voice, no hesitation. "This is Yakov Mironov. We met last year on a project. You handled a divorce case. I remember. What do you need?" "Informal consultation, preferably today. Come in 2 hours. I'll give you the address." The office was in an old brick building. Gray windows, no frills, a desk, 2 gray folders, a water cooler. Yakov entered, nodded to the secretary. Shmelyova waited in the back room. Said, "I'm listening." He pulled out a flash drive, placed it on the desk. "It contains all my wife's expenses, aligned with her trips, meetings, and so on, plus message screenshots, my son and his friend names, places, full text." She inserted the drive into her laptop, skimmed through. Neat, systematic. Who compiled it? Me and my accountant quietly know outside help. The data's authentic? Yes. Good, now tell me. What do you want? He looked straight at her. Clean divorce, no division of what I built the son. Undecided. All right, let's start with assets. What's under your name? Everything apartment was bought before marriage. Cars, mine, construction business is sole proprietorship. She's not a founder, accountant, or employee. Joint accounts. Frozen, left for nothing, just untouched pension savings. Peanuts. You have document copies? He handed her second folder. Income records, contracts past 3 years. Good work, she nodded, flipping through. Now the hard part. Are you ready for this to go public? Son, school, neighbors. I don't care, let it go public, the only thing that matters. She stopped spending my money. Then we proceed tomorrow. I file the claim grounds. Infidelity, financial misconduct proof, photos, receipts, messages. We won't involve the son yet, but if she tries to drag him in, we'll raise the issue of manipulation. Yakov nodded. One more thing. She started sniffing around my work, asked my accountant about a contract. He leaked it. I told him to stay quiet. What contract? Municipal 2.5 million still in signing stage. If she finds out, she might try something. Understood. I'll alert the right people. You hold the line, re-instruct the accountant, and finalize that contract through a lawyer fast. When he left the office, the rain had already started. Cars crawled, people ducked under awnings. Yakov pulled out his phone, opened the camera feed, checked home. Garage, empty apartment, still son at school. Irina, at work or elsewhere. He crossed the street, entered a hardware store, bought a new tool bag identical to the one he had at home, except for the zipper color. The old one would stay, the new one would come with him. That evening, he came home. As usual, the key turned stiffly. Her coat was in the hallway. Vlad sat in his room, eyes on his phone. How's school? Fine. Geometry? 5. Yakov nodded, went to the kitchen, sat. A few minutes later, Irina came in. Did you eat? No, wasn't hungry. I bought your cheese, the one you like. Thanks. She sat across from him, took a sip of tea. We need to talk. I'm listening. I feel like you're digging, checking my things, tracking my spending, watching me. He looked at her calmly. Because you're spending my money on another man and pulling our son into it. You think I'm cheating? I don't think I know. She froze. Vlad talked his phone, talked the chats, the receipts, the times you get home, the cars parked outside. Silence. So what do you want now? Leave? Take everything you built. If my son comes to me, we'll talk. If not, it's his choice. That night he packed only his own things, clothes, documents, the toolbox. The old bag stayed, the new one came. On the table, he left a printed copy of the divorce petition signature already in place. He didn't say where he was going, didn't explain, didn't slam the door, didn't make a scene. He simply got up early, picked up the bag, and shut the door behind him. The lawyer's letter was already on its way to court. The printed documents remained on the kitchen table, between a napkin holder and Vlad's phone. No note, no words. He rented a 1-bedroom on the edge of the city, a concrete balcony, peeling wallpaper, a fridge that hummed like a transformer, but no one touched him here, and that was enough. That same evening, he parked 50 meters from the building. Fine rain, no wind. He sat in the car. Headlights off, the phone screen showed movement in the yard. A shiny dark sedan pulled up. Irina came out. No purse, no hurry, short coat. High heels. She didn't look back. The car unlocked from inside. Driver. Young, clean cut. Confident, she got in the car, pulled away slowly. Turned the corner, the headlights disappeared. He wasn't following, he was confirming. An hour later, the camera showed Vlad returning alone. Key and lock, lights, bedroom, then kitchen moving sluggishly, as if drained. Near midnight, Irina reappeared in the frame, hair tousled, coat open, glancing around like she'd lost something. She entered quickly, closed the door behind her. The next day, at exactly 9 p.m., he returned. Same parking spot, camera on, apartment lit. Vlad was home, Irina wasn't. 15 minutes later, the same car pulled up, same plates, same tires. Irina exited the building. Shopping bag, shoulder bag, heels clicking. She stopped to the car, said something to the driver. He got out. Athletic build, calm movements, not jittery, not cocky, just sure of himself. He adjusted something inside the car, then pulled out a box, handed it to her. She took it, laughed too loudly, then stepped forward and kissed him quickly, without hesitation. Yakov stepped out his car. Not rushing, slow, steady steps passed right by them. Oleg noticed him first. Froze. Irina turned, her pupils narrowed, the box in her hand trembled. Yakov said nothing, just looked. Long and steady, no threats, no words. Then to Irina, home? Or with him? She didn't answer. All right, he said, not home then. He turned back on the car, shut the door. Oleg's car pulled away, carefully. Yakov headed to the lawyer's office. It was past 9, but he knew Shmelyova worked late. He called on the way. I have confirmation, he said, visual on camera, in person, no words needed. Any video? No, but witnesses? Yes, there's a security cam by the entrance. We'll request the archive. Understood. I'll add it to the petition, delivering it to court tomorrow. No signature needed. Power of attorney is on file. The next day, Irina's mailbox held an official envelope, court seal, notification of divorce proceedings, copy of the petition, a list of grounds, appendix, financial misconduct, adultery note. All joint accounts restricted. Vlad saw it first, came home from school, opened it, dropped his backpack, sat down on the bed. Silence, then a message to his father. Are you serious? No reply. Evening silence in the apartment. Irina at the table, papers spread out before her, Vlad beside her, staring, not understanding. She spoke slowly. He knew, I don't know how, but he knew. And you didn't even stop. And you? Vlad turned away, walked to his room, shut the door. Only paper remained and silence. You thought he would wait for you. Don't talk to me like that. And how did you talk to your father? While dining in restaurants on his money? He walked to his room, closed the door quietly. Late that evening, the intercom rang, an older voice. Irina, it's your mother, we need to talk. She opened the door. Elizaveta Yurievna climbed the stairs with difficulty, short of breath, hands trembling. He won't answer me, she said, barely crossing the threshold. What have you done? Mom, don't start. I was always on your side. He said he worked too much. I told you, be patient. When you screamed you're tired, I said, let him rest. And now I look back and wonder, who was I defending? Irina sat down, knees clenched in her hands, lips trembling. It wasn't serious, just exhaustion. I needed attention. Oleg was different. He saw me, he did. Her mother sat across from her. He saw the money you spent, the gifts you bought. For him, for your son, with someone else's wallet, and when it ended, he disappeared. It's temporary. No, it's permanent. Yuri alone now. Yakov is gone, and with him, the stability, the house, the bank accounts. The son, Vlad, is with me for now. Look him in the eyes and tell me he still believes you, that he's not just being polite. The next day, the school called first. A polite, firm voice. Irina Nikolaevna, we're calling about the parent contributions. The last 3 payments were declined. We couldn't withdraw the funds, unfortunately. The administration requires the outstanding balance by week's end. I understand. Please give me 2 days. I hope so, otherwise access to certain classes may be suspended. Later, another call, a mother from Vlad's class or tone. Frosted glass. I'd prefer Vlad not associate with my son. We'd like to avoid children from unstable families. I hope you understand. Vlad heard it, sitting in the hallway while she was on the phone. Then stood up. I'm not going back. Back where? To school. They can expel me, transfer me, whatever. Are you out of your mind? You're the one who lost it, not me. That evening, Yakov got a message from his son. No greeting, no explanation. They're talking about us. They say you filed for divorce, that I was in the messages. I don't even know what they think I am now. I don't know what I think I am. He read it, didn't reply. 2 days later, another message. He's gone. Oleg phone off the dealership, says he quit. Mom won't say anything, but I see it all. Yakov forwarded the messages to his lawyer, note attached. Emotional pressure fits the definition. Shmelyova confirmed, logged it. Irina spent the evening alone. Vlad left, said, going for a walk, came back 3 hours later, the smell of alcohol on his breath, eyes red. Where were you? With friends. Drinking? None of your business. She went to the bedroom, sat on the bed, dialed Yakov's number. No signal. Second time. Nothing. Third, disconnected. Then came the bank message. Account closed. No signature required. Final notice. By early November, silence had settled in, dense, uneasy, like the moment before something snaps. Vlad came home late, spoke less, ate in silence, closed his door loudly. He didn't ask, didn't answer, didn't interfere. He barely spoke to Irina, unless necessary between them. A wall, no explanations, no words. She felt to try to joke, ask about school, offer help, nothing worked. Vlad answered in short phrases, no anger, but cold, like he'd shut something off, like he was waiting. One morning, he woke up earlier than usual, packed his backpack. No words left. Came back in the evening with a different look, tired but focused. She noticed a brochure in his hand, a photo of a garage on the cover, caption, "Internship from month 1. He placed it on the table, sat down, poured himself water. "You found a job?" "At an auto shop, weekends and after school." "You didn't talk to me about this." "Did you talk to me about going places with Oleg?" She looked down. "You're 16, this isn't for you." "It is now. I don't want to depend on you or anyone else's gifts." "I saw how that ends." "We'll be okay." "I will." A week later, a letter arrived from the school. Vlad. Expelled, reason: unpaid fees, absences, disciplinary issues. A copy was sent to the municipal board. His seat was filled immediately, no explanations. Irina called him to talk. "You didn't tell me you stopped going to class." "Why would I?" "You've destroyed everything. Your education, your future." "No, you destroyed it. I just cleared out the lies." "And now what? A garage? That's it?" "For now, we'll see." He started work at the auto shop almost immediately, washing cars, then oil changes, diagnostics. Came home in dark clothes, grease on his hands, oil under his nails. He lay a few bills on the table, never asked for anything. She couldn't keep up groceries. Bare minimum, rented apartment, no savings, last job salary cut, what remained went to debt. Salons, gone, subscriptions. Canceled one pair of shoes per season, purses, secondhand clothes, same. What once felt like rock bottom was now just normal. Once a week, she saw Yakov from afar. He drove past in a work vehicle. Red body, logo on the door. He was behind the wheel, face calm. Eyes focused straight ahead. He didn't slow down, didn't honk, didn't see her, as if she didn't exist. One day, she couldn't take it, followed him, found the site, came, and stood behind the fence. Construction workers, movement. Yakov moved between concrete blocks, drawing on a tablet, checking things. He looked stronger, calmer. One of the workers handed him a thermos. He nodded in thanks. Irina watched, not blinking, then quietly walked away. At the entrance, the mailman stopped her. "Irina Nikolaevna Mironova?" "Yes." "Court notice, signature required." She signed. The envelope was official inside. A summons, first hearing. 2 weeks, the list of attachments. Statements, screenshots, testimonies, each stamped, accepted for review. One line stood out: parental alienation of a minor. That evening, she placed the summons on the table. Vlad walked into the kitchen, saw the paper, sat down, picked it up, read. "You gonna fight it?" "I don't know. You want to change something?" She looked at him slowly. "And what can be changed?" He didn't answer, stood up, went to his room, left the door open. The next day, Yakov received a message from his lawyer. Respondent acknowledged facts, no objections filed, expedited review expected. He read it and said only, "Then it's going according to plan." On the day of the hearing, Irina woke at 6, not from an alarm, from the silence. No sound in the apartment. Vlad had left early. His garage shift started at dawn. The backpack that usually stood by the door gone. On the kitchen table, a note, no greeting, no signature. "Back in the evening, don't wait." She stood holding it for a few minutes, then gently put it back. She went to the bathroom, turned on the tap. The water ran for a long time, but didn't warm her. She wandered into the bedroom, opened the closet, took out a dress, dark, plain, office appropriate. She used to find such things dull. Now there was no other choice. The courthouse was in an old building. Peeling plaster, rusted bars on the windows inside. The smell of paper and exhaustion. She arrived 15 minutes early, sat on a bench outside the office, palms sweating, head empty, no plan, no words. Yakov arrived on time, gray jacket, jeans, folder under his arm, sat across from her, didn't look, didn't speak. Next to him, Shmelyova, in a suit, expression sharp. The clerk called them in. The room was small, cold, lighting, worn furniture. The judge, a woman in her 50s, neat handwriting, indifferent voice. The protocol was read quickly. Both sides identified themselves. Then came the formalities. Shmelyova spoke crisply. Expenses, texts, video, testimony. The judge listened silently, only pausing to clarify dates. Irina didn't object, just nodded. In light of the above, the lawyer concluded, the plaintiff requests the marriage be dissolved, his sole ownership of property confirmed, all claims by the respondent dismissed, and, if needed, the matter of parental alienation considered separately. The judge looked up from the papers. Does the respondent have any objections? Irina raised her eyes. The room was still. No. All statements in the file. Do you confirm them? Yes. A pause. The judge made a note, then turned to Yakov. Will the issue of the child be addressed in this hearing? Shmelyova leaned in, whispered something. Yakov nodded. No, not at this time. After the session, they stepped outside. The weather had turned. Light rain falling. Yakov headed toward the parking lot. Irina caught up. He turned silent. I'm not making excuses, she said, and I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted to say. I understand now, not at first, but I do. He said nothing. At home, she pinned the court paper to the fridge so she wouldn't forget. Later, when Vlad had already gone to bed, Irina picked up her phone, stared at the screen for a long time, typed a message. Yakov, he's changed, he works, he studies, he doesn't ask for anything, he's grown, but still yours, even if he stays silent. She looked at the message for a full minute, then deleted it. Didn't send. The next day, Vlad left early. On the kitchen table, he left a receipt, wages, $8,000, a handwritten note beside it, for utilities. She stared at the paper for a long time, then took out a notebook, wrote it down. January Vlad's salary, 8 mine, 20 child support, 10 total, 38 minus rent minus groceries minus transport leftover, 3. That evening, coming home, she saw a man standing by the entrance. The back looked familiar. She came closer. He turned. Yakov, what are you doing here? Drop something off for our son. What? An old tool from the garage. He saw it as a kid. I once promised he'd get it when he was ready, and I think he is. He told you that? No, he doesn't, I see. They stood in the dark, silent. Then he said, I'm not coming back, not asking, just saying it. So nothing stays hanging in the air. She nodded. I was at fault, yes, enough to never forget, but not enough to wish you harm. He left. She watched him go. For a long time. Then went upstairs. Inside. Silence in the mailbox. A power bill, paper like truth. Blank, but still carries debt. Spring came without announcement. Asphalt thawed, water trickled through the gutters, and Vlad started coming home later. But cleaner, less dirt, more grease, fewer torn gloves. He began to talk, more brief, straightforward. Sometimes he'd tell her how a customer brought in a stubborn car, how he figured out where the wire broke, how the boss clapped him on the back and gave him a 1,000 bonus. He wasn't bragging, just stating facts. Irina listened, didn't interrupt, stored all in her mind. If he's silent, he's processing. If he speaks, it's starting to pass. One evening, he came in carrying a box. What's that? Old toolbox, wrenches, screwdrivers. Dad brought it. The same one? From the basement. Yeah, he handed it to me himself, opened the trunk, said, your turn now, and that was it. He didn't say anything else? No, but I don't need more. Why doesn't he explain? He doesn't. He gives same as before. Late at night, Irina couldn't sleep. She sat in the kitchen with tea on the table. Old documents, receipts, invoices, lists among them. Yakov's card. The one he once took back. Forgotten in a drawer, expired. She picked it up. The plastic was warm, not money. A sign, a closed account, like a closed chapter. In those days, Vlad began visiting his father. First once, then again. Yakov didn't invite, but didn't turn him away, gave him small tasks. Hold a level, run a cable, tighten a bracket. Vlad did it all silently, without mistakes. On the third visit, Yakov handed him a sight tablet. Measure this 2 meters along here, 1 across, do it. I'll check. He did it matched. Guess you're not just washing cars, Yakov said. Vlad didn't answer, smile for the first time, genuinely. That evening at home, he opened his battered old laptop. On the screen. Course paper, Introduction to Small-Scale Engineering Practice, Garage Construction. He typed slowly, with errors, but on his own, no templates. Irina stood in the doorway. You've decided to apply? I think so. Construction? Yeah. Why? Because it's not about concrete, it's about strength, the kind that water can't wash away and fools can't break, if done right. She wanted to say something, didn't, walked away. A minute later, she came back with a paper. Here transit pass 1 month to the college. I bought it while I still can. Vlad took it, nodded. Thanks. At the garage, a new schedule was posted. Vlad's name was there. Hourly, by task, not as a trainee, as staff. He received a uniform jacket, a helmet, a badge. Semyon shook his hand. Yakov came by the shop a few days later. No warning, peered into the bay. Vlad stood by a car, removing a wool. Didn't see his father right away, only looked up when he straightened, paused, then nodded. Yakov nodded back. You're doing good work. You tired, though? A bit. Rest tomorrow, then come by. There's a site. We need to pour the foundation. You'll handle it under my supervision. Vlad watched him closely. Just me. Unless you can't handle it. I can. Then I'll see you at 7 o'clock sharp. At home, he went to Irina. I won't be here tomorrow. I'll be with my dad work day. Side job. Everything okay? I think so. Did he say anything else? Just one thing. What? I'm waiting. At dawn, Vlad left, took his gloves, put on the old jacket, and the backpack with his sandwich, closed the door. Irina came to the window, watched him walk straight, without looking back, a man's stride, just like Yakov's. The spring day was dry, windless. The site where Vlad was supposed to pour the foundation was on the outskirts. A level patch marked with twine, gravel underfoot, a bucket of water, cement sacks, boards. Everything had been laid out in advance. Yakov stood by the car, waiting as his son got off the minibus. He didn't greet him, just nodded. Vlad nodded back. You saw everything? Yes. Mix isn't ready. No. You'll mix it. Proportions are on the chart. Shovels over there. He pointed. Vlad walked to the spot silently, started working, movements precise, restrained rhythm, like in the workshop. He mixed the first batch, poured it into the formwork, came back. Yakov didn't interfere, just watched. No more water, or it'll flow. Check the edges. Got it. Don't rush. Better slow and level. That's what I'm doing. By noon, the form was half full. Vlad was sweating, but didn't complain. Yakov set a thermos on a box, sat beside it. Vlad crouched, took out a sandwich, ate in silence. How's school? Fine, nothing hard, yet geometry's easy. They said we'll get practice in summer. You want in? You'll work with me officially, contract and all, if you don't mess up. I won't. We'll see. Working with your father doesn't mean special treatment. More like the opposite. I know. After the break, Vlad continued. By evening, the foundation was poured. Even without sinkholes, he checked with the level, double-checked, then walked to Yakov. It's done. Yakov came over, evaluated. Looks fine. Only fine. For first time, good. No higher than that. Don't praise yourself too early. We'll see in the morning how it sets. I'll come back. I'll be there. They drove in silence. Yakov drove. Vlad stared out the window. No radio, no talk. Half an hour later, Yakov stopped by the building. Go. Vlad got out, paused with the door open. Thanks for letting me. It's not a favor, it's work. You handled it. There'll be more. I understand. In the apartment, Irina was awake. She heard his steps and came out. Vlad took off his jacket, set his boots down. All good. Yes, worked from morning till night. Did they pay? Not yet. Later, but that's not the point. What is then? He looked straight at her. He trusted me. The next day, he really did return to the site, checked the concrete himself. It had set. An hour later, Yakov arrived. Right on time, no gaps. Good. Tomorrow, there's work. Rebar, I'll be here. So it went all week. Classes in the morning, construction after workshop on weekends. Vlad didn't complain, didn't tire, didn't retreat. He worked like an adult. Yakov didn't praise, but he didn't criticize either. Sometimes a nod, sometimes a short. That's right. Vlad understood. This was recognition. Irina watched from the side. Didn't interfere. Only once she said, "You've changed." He replied, "I just don't want to be weak anymore." Did he say that to you? No, he showed me. That evening, she pulled out an old folder. Marriage certificate, court ruling, bank statements. All the remnants of the past. She put them in a bag, sealed it, stored it away like old documents no longer valid. Vlad came home late again, tired, dusty. He sat at the table. She placed soup in front of him. He ate in silence, then looked up. Mom. Yes. I understand now why it all collapsed back then. I was angry at you, at him, but now I want to build my own life, not repeat what was. I'm glad, and you can build something new. Not for someone else, for yourself. The construction site buzzed, grinders screamed, rebar clanged, someone shouted measurements. Vlad worked at the center of the slab, raising panels, checking levels, verifying slope. Yakov stood nearby, not supervising, just observing, occasionally correcting, but rarely. Everything ran smooth. Vlad didn't get distracted. He wore a helmet, safety glasses, a uniform with a company patch. He fit in not like a student, like someone who belonged. At lunch, they sat side by side. Yakov pulled out a tablet, opened blueprints, slid them over. "This yours?" "Yeah. Course project, construction design, simple. But I did it myself." Yakov scrolled slowly. Diagrams were neat. Notes handwritten, almost no errors. Foundation calculated to code, factoring in load 2 floors, foam block, metal tile roof. Yakov nodded. "You did this?" "From scratch. No templates. Checked with reference books." Yakov set the tablet down, looked at his son, calm, quiet, then placed a hand on his shoulder. The gesture was brief, wordless, but it held everything that had been missing before: trust, recognition, a boundary crossed by both. After the shift, Yakov drove Vlad to the city center, silent, no music, no conversation, just equal presence. At the corner, Vlad said, "I'll come again tomorrow. No need to ask, just come." At home, he sat at the laptop, opened the project, read it again, found a minor mistake, corrected it, saved, printed page by page. Irina came in quietly. "All good." "Yes." "Tired?" "No." "Need help?" "Not anymore." She left, came back minutes later with a notebook. "Here, I've been keeping track month by month." Vlad took it, flipped through numbers, income, expenses. "You wrote all this?" "Yes." "What?" "To understand that we're still standing." He handed it back. "You made it." "No, I just didn't give up. That is making it." At the workshop, they greeted him differently. Semyon nodded. "You're growing. Kid, I've got an idea. We need to build a partition wall. Can you handle it?" "When?" "Sunday. One day, I'll get you the materials." "All right." He came in early, worked all day, did it all himself. Framing, cutting, mounting. No cracks, no leaning. Semyon inspected it. "Well done. When you start building your own, call me, I'll come take a look." "I will." Yakov didn't hear it from Vlad. Semyon called him directly. "Your son, he's a man not by age, but by how he handles things. He doesn't let anyone down. ID, take 10 like him. Any day. He's already on the team." Yakov replied. "Just don't tell him that." "Why not? Let him figure it out himself." Late that evening, Yakov got a message from Vlad, the first one ever. No greetings, no formalities. Just, "Thanks for not stopping me." Yakov read it once, didn't answer right away, didn't need to. He turned off the phone, sat by the window, looked out into the dark yard. Wind moved the branches, a street lamp flickered from a nearby building, came the faint clang of dishes. Everything was quiet, but something had shifted. Not loud, not dramatic, just real. The next morning, Vlad woke up early, packed a sandwich, tools, left a note, gone to site, back late. Irina read it and smiled, quietly to herself. He spent the whole day laying blocks, marking lines, carrying, fitting, sealing, wiping. No idle talk, no glances at the phone, only work. By afternoon, his arms ached, dust stuck to his skin like film, but he didn't slow down. When Yakov arrived, Vlad was halfway up the wall, focus steady. Yakov didn't speak right away. He walked the perimeter, checked the mortar, ran a hand along the joints. Then, that corner, rechecked the line. Vlad nodded, adjusted without argument. Later, when the tools were packed away and the sky turned amber, Yakov said, "You're not just helping anymore." Vlad didn't answer. He didn't need to. "Thanks for the foundation, for the drawings, for the trust. If anything, I'm here." Yakov read the message, didn't reply, just set the phone down and looked out the window again. There were more words in that silence than in any conversation. That same night, Irina passed by Vlad's room. He was sleeping. For the first time, peacefully, arms loose, face even, no tension in the brow, no closed jaw, just calm, like someone who had built something that would hold. The last week of May came warm, dry. Without sudden shifts, the city slowed before summer. Schools filed final reports. Construction sites shifted to lighter hours. Minibuses ran half empty. Vlad had his final exams. He came home tired but steady. No frustration, No snap. Irina didn't hover. She cooked, washed his uniform, stayed quiet. Sometimes she asked, not to control, just to connect. How was drafting? Passed first try. Instructor. Asked who taught me. And you? Said, myself, then added, my father. Checked. Yakov didn't appear often. Only at the site. Vlad went on his own. No reminders. Worked 2 to 3 days a week. His pay went straight to his card. He didn't spend, he saved. Irina didn't ask. One evening, he came home with a sheet of paper. What's this? Application. College's annual merit grant. I submitted. Think you'll get it? If not, I didn't earn it. Irina kept working at the archive, papers, stamps, sorting, uninspiring, but stable. At lunch, she sat behind the building, ate from a container, sipped tea from a thermos. No one bothered her. Sometimes she wrote her notebook. Lately, the entries grew shorter, just numbers, no comments. But beside them, dates, times Vlad met with Yakov. She didn't plan them, she just noted. One evening, when Vlad came home later than usual, she asked, you were with him? Yes, all going as planned. Mostly he gave me a new project, small canopy. But it's mine, all of it. He told you that? No, just handed me the papers, but I knew. Next morning, he printed the first spec sheet, clipped it into a folder. Yakov, meanwhile, met with a new contractor. The company was growing. He stayed reserved, as always. When asked about his team, he said simply, my son helps. I'm watching so far. He's steady. If he holds, he'll build with you. That night, Irina walked home through empty streets, past a bench, a shuttered corner shop, a dark hair salon. In the window, her own reflection, steady, tired, but not broken. At home, Vlad was reading a technical manual chapter on load resistance. Pages marked up with notes. You get it? Now, yes. Before, no. What changed? I started doing, and the mistakes stopped scaring me. The next morning, he left early in his backpack. Blueprints, a sandwich, gloves. He walked without rushing, shoulders squared back, straight eyes forward. He didn't look back. Yakov was already at the site, took one look, thermos in one hand, folder in the other, nodded without a word. Work began.